combination of changing markets and rapidly advancing technology has created a challenging business environment for today's surveying firms. Still, a number of firms have managed to carve out a successful niche despite the obstacles. What are some of the key characteristics of these companies and what sets them apart from other firms? We'll find out in this episode of Side Shots. POB's October issue highlights 7 surveying firms that have seen extraordinary success because of their progressive approach. Kristi, first of all, why 7 firms?
It's a good question, and it was really hard to come up with a number, to be honest. There were any number of firms that we could have profiled, probably several dozen would have qualified to be highlighted. And I have to emphasize that this wasn't necessarily a qualification process either. This isn't a top 7 list. There were no metrics that we used. Basically, we had a certain amount of space and a certain amount of time. I had a number of companies that I personally wanted to interview, and so 7 seemed like an achievable number.
What was it about these 7 firms that caught your attention?
You know, going to a number of different conferences over the last several years, you hear a lot of discussion about the economy. The economy's been really tough, and sometimes it can get discouraging. Talking to firms, a lot of firms have been through a really rough time. But every once in a while, I would come across a company that would say to me, my sales have never been better. Things are going great. And I wanted to find out why. What was different about these particular firms? And I started talking to some other people too, and they gave me some recommendations for firms. I had a pretty good list of companies that I wanted to interview, and I was just very eager to find out what was it about these firms that made them different.
What do you think POB's audience should take away from this?
I think there are a couple of dangers, first of all, in reading an article like this. It's easy to look at an article and see maybe your competitor and say, oh, you know, why did they choose them to be profiled in this issue? They should have chosen me instead. There's also a danger of looking at an article like this and thinking, there's no way I can achieve that. There's no way I can go out and buy this technology. I can't invest in a mobile mapping system, so I guess I'm doomed to failure. I think both of those perspectives aren't helpful, and really the thing to keep in mind is that you can learn something from every company. Every business that you study, especially successful firms, if you study how they do their business, their underlying principles, there's a lot that you can take away from it.
Look for the feature article, 7 Progressive Surveying Firms and what you can learn from them in POB's October issue.